Here's something that's going to mess with your head a little bit. The richest people in America don't look rich. Warren Buffett still lives in the same house he bought in 1958 for $31,000. Mark Zuckerberg drives a Volkswagen GTI, and the guy standing next to you at Costco in a plain t-shirt and beat-up sneakers might have more money sitting in his brokerage account than your entire neighborhood combined. Think about that for a second. Here's why that matters. The more money someone actually has, the less they spend trying to look like they have it. The people you assume are wealthy, the ones with the brand new cars, the designer bags, the giant houses on the corner, are statistically more likely to be carrying debt than building wealth. And the ones who are quietly becoming rich, you'd walk right past them and never know. Today I'm going to show you exactly what wealthy people refuse to buy, and why that refusal is precisely how they got there in the first place. Because it turns out, getting rich isn't just about what you buy. It's just as much about what you don't. Let's get into it. Thing 1. A brand new car. This one surprises people, because we've been trained our whole lives to think a new car is a reward. You work hard, you get the new car. That's the story. But here's what nobody tells you in the dealership. The moment you drive a new car off the lot, it loses somewhere between 15 and 20% of its value in the first year alone. That's not a number I'm making up. That's what Edmunds has been tracking for decades. On a $40,000 car, you just lost $6,000 to $8,000 before you even make your first payment. Wealthy people understand this math instantly. They don't see a new car as a reward. They see it as burning money in the driveway. Meet Tom. He's 43, a software engineer in Seattle. He's been making good money for years, and every 2 years, he traded in for the latest model. Nice cars. A new smell. Everyone noticed. By the time he sat down with a financial advisor at 40, he realized he had spent over $60,000 in depreciation alone over the previous decade. $60,000. That never came back. The shift was simple. Tom started buying cars that were 2 to 3 years old. Let someone else take the depreciation hit. He put the difference into index funds. 10 years later, that decision alone added over $100,000 to his net worth. Rich people don't avoid nice cars. They just don't pay the stupid tax of buying them brand new. Thing 2, lottery tickets. I know, you've heard this one before, but I want to give you the number, because the number is what makes it hit differently. Low-income Americans spend 33 times more of their income on lottery tickets than high-income Americans do. 33 times. And households earning under $30,000 a year spend an average of $412 annually on lottery tickets. That's over $400 a year, chasing a 1 in 300 million chance. Here's what wealthy people understand that most people don't. The lottery isn't a financial product. It's an entertainment product disguised as hope. And the house always wins. $400 a year invested in an index fund, starting at age 30. Grows to over $60,000 by retirement. Not life-changing money on its own, but combined with the other habits on this list, it becomes part of a pattern. And the pattern is what builds wealth. Wealthy people don't play the lottery, not because they're boring, because they've done the math, and they found better odds. Thing 3, timeshares. If you've never been to a timeshare presentation, consider yourself lucky. If you have, you already know what I'm about to say. A timeshare sounds reasonable at first. You pay a one-time fee. You get a week at a resort every year. You share ownership with other families. Simple, clean, vacation locked in. Here's the reality. The average timeshare costs around $22,000 up front. Then you pay annual maintenance fees, which currently average over $1,100 a year, and go up every single year whether you use it or not. You can't easily sell it. The resale market for timeshares is so bad. There are companies called timeshare exit firms whose entire business model is helping people get out of a contract they signed in a moment of vacation excitement. Meet Carol. She's 61, a nurse from Phoenix. She bought a timeshare in her 40s after a long weekend presentation that included a free dinner and a lot of pressure. She's used it 4 times in 15 years. In that time, she's paid over $16,000 in maintenance fees alone, on top of the original purchase price. She can't sell it. She can't give it away. It's just a bill that shows up every January. Wealthy people take vacations, really good ones. They just don't sign contracts that charge them for the rest of their lives to do it. Thing 4, designer logos. This one is a little uncomfortable, because the entire point of a logo is to make you feel something. And it works. That's why people pay it. A plain white t-shirt from a basic brand costs $15. The same white t-shirt with a specific logo on the chest costs $250. The cotton is the same. The stitching is the same. The only thing you're buying is the signal. You're paying $235 to tell strangers something about yourself. Wealthy people, especially first-generation wealthy people who built it themselves, almost universally reject this, not because they can't afford it, because they understand what they're actually buying. And what they're actually buying is other people's approval, at a price that doesn't make sense. Charlie Munger put it simply. He said the world runs less on greed than on envy. And the logo industry runs entirely on envy, on the desire to have what signals status, rather than what actually builds it. The money saved by skipping the logo over a lifetime of purchases is not a small number. It is a very large number. And wealthy people tend to put large numbers to work. Thing 5. Actively managed mutual funds. This one costs Americans more money than almost anything else on this list, and most people don't even know it's happening. Here's how it works. An actively managed mutual fund charges you a fee, called an expense ratio, to have professional managers pick stocks on your behalf. Sounds reasonable. The problem is the average actively managed fund charge is somewhere between 0.5 and 1.5% annually. And study after study, including research from S&P Global, shows that over any 15-year period, more than 90% of actively managed funds fail to beat the market. You're paying more, you're getting less, and the fee compounds against you every single year. Warren Buffett has said publicly, repeatedly, that for the average investor, a low-cost S&P 500 index fund will outperform almost anything else over the long term. He's so confident in this. He made a 10-year bet with a hedge fund manager in 2008. The index fund won. It wasn't even close. The math is simple and brutal. 1% in fees on a $200,000 portfolio cost you over $60,000 over 20 years in loss compounding. Not because anything dramatic happened, just because of a quiet, invisible fee you agreed to and then forgot about. Wealthy people use index funds. Low cost, diversified, boring, effective. Thing 6. The newest smartphone every year. Here's a number that will stay with you. The average American upgrades their smartphone every 2 to 3 years. The average iPhone costs around $1,100. People who upgrade every year are spending somewhere between $1,100 and $1,300 annually on a device that does almost exactly what last year's device did. The camera gets slightly better. The chip gets slightly faster. The apps are identical. The experience is nearly identical. But the marketing, the launch event, the line around the block makes it feel essential. Wealthy people tend to keep their phones until they genuinely stop working, not because $1,100 is a lot of money to them, because they've trained themselves to ask one question before any purchase. Does this thing make my life meaningfully better, or does it just feel like it does? That question, applied consistently across a lifetime of purchases, is worth more than most people realize. Thing 7, and this is the one nobody expects. Wealthy parents don't buy their kids' way out of failure. I want you to sit with that for a second because it runs completely against what most of us assume about rich families. Warren Buffett has said he wants to give his children enough money to do anything, but not so much that they can do nothing. Each of his kids received around $10,000 as a start, not millions, not a safety net so wide that falling is impossible. $10,000, and the expectation that the rest was on them. This isn't cruelty. It's the opposite. Wealthy people understand something that takes most parents decades to figure out. Failure is not the enemy of success. It's the mechanism of it. Every time a child fails at something small and figures out how to get back up, they build something that money genuinely cannot buy. Resilience, problem solving, the ability to sit in discomfort without collapsing. When you remove failure from a child's life, you don't protect them. You make them fragile. And fragile people, regardless of how much they inherit, tend to lose it. Meet James. He's 52, a self-made business owner in Atlanta. He grew up with nothing and built a company worth several $1 million. When his son was 16 and wanted a car, James made him work for half of it. Not because James couldn't afford the whole thing, because he'd watched too many wealthy friends hand their kids everything, and then watch those kids drift through their 20s without direction, without drive, without any real understanding of what things cost. His son is now 28. He runs a division of James's company. He earned it. The greatest gift wealthy parents give their children isn't money. It's the experience of earning something, losing something, and figuring out what to do next. So here's what I want you to take from all of this. Real wealth, the kind that lasts, isn't built by buying the right things. It's built by refusing the wrong ones. The new car that impresses strangers, the lottery ticket that funds someone else's dream, the timeshare that charges you forever, the logo that buys you approval, the fund that quietly drains your returns, the phone that feels new but isn't, and the safety net so thick your kids never learn to land on their own feet. None of these are dramatic decisions. None of them feel like the moment your financial life changes, but they happen every month, every year, for decades. And the difference between the person who falls for them and the person who doesn't is usually not income. It's awareness. Now you have it. Tell me in the comments, which one of these surprised you the most? And if you want to know how to set up your first index fund, the kind that wealthy people actually use, watch this video right here. I'm George. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.